This is Wild on 7th, your favorite Wild podcast.
Did you guys see this? This is unbelievable.
What is that all about, Kinger?
Get in here for the real thing.
Like, let's get weird.
Maybe I blacked out trying to figure out what was going on.
Doubt, worry, fear, because that's what we're breaking the mold on here.
Welcome to Wild on 7th, presented by Pilot Games. We're here until it's here.
Well, welcome back to Wild on 7th, your favorite Wild podcast. I'm coming to you all the way from the other side of the big pond, Stockholm, Sweden. It's currently 5:54 p.m. here. Kinger had mimosas, Bloody Marys. What'd you have after watching the Wild and the Leafs here this morning? It was kind of like bacon and eggs and a little bit of hockey on TV. Did you spill any coffee when they got the early goal? Like, tell me about it.
I didn't properly celebrate, to be honest. I had a couple pieces of peanut butter toast with butter and peanut butter, excessive. I did have coffee, no drinking. I was kind of frustrated, just kind of waiting for a little bit of joy. And we just kind of got, I don't know. I'm just waiting for the lazy all Swede, no finish headline on the newspaper tomorrow, right? Like it was just kind of, I don't know, like it felt like tying.
Yeah, I mean, I'm totally with you. And the scene was set for, Eriksson Ek to be the hero late. Even Johansson had the 2-on-1 before they went down the other direction. But let's take a second and sum up the trip here and maybe set the tone for today's podcast. Logistics have made it tough on Kinger and I to be in the same room to record the intro to this podcast. So we're sitting on a 9.5-hour flight tomorrow morning. This would be Monday morning to get me back to the United States along with the rest of the Wild. But we wanted to make sure we stayed on schedule, podcast schedule, and release something Monday afternoon. So we've got a little Zoom going here to get this out to you guys. So appreciate that. We had Bogosian sit down with us before we left for Sweden. What a fun interview that was. We'll talk more about that as we set it up. But the trip here was great. I tell you what, I don't know if you can tell, we don't have the video, but the lights are on. My face, did you watch the open to the show this morning or the pregame show on Bally's real early?
Yeah, so did you have like something going on the side of your nose as well? Like a little red mark or what was, did you get banged up over there or what's
No. I tell you what, if my face looks like an orangutan, that's because it should. I don't know. I could never adjust to the time zone change. I'd go to bed like last night. I was super responsible. Saturday night, Stockholm. Everywhere I went to eat, it was loungy. The beats were pulling me in, but I was a good guy. I said, "Know what? No, let's be a pro. I got a game 2:00 in the afternoon." So I had a quick little duck, back to bed, 10:45. Fell asleep for about 90 minutes. Woke up, and this is all week. My body still thought it was like nap time, 7-hour time change. So 11 o'clock here is like 4 o'clock back home. And I'd sleep for 90 minutes, wake up, it'd be 5:30, what would be your local time. Then I'd sit there and stare at the ceiling. I bet you I spent more time in my bed awake than I have sleeping on this trip. I don't know if the players had this kind of issue or not, but I never acclimated. But this morning had to wake up at the crack of dawn to record that open. And I was tired. I don't know if you could tell, but face swollen. Battled through it though. But yeah, no, it was, I'm with you, man. It was all set. Dean Evison started the Swedes and all the Swedes in the Ottawa game. And I kind of felt like they'd rise to the occasion and somebody'd play hero. And they had their opportunities specifically tonight too in overtime. Eriksson Ek, it was mano-a-mano with Woll there, one chance. And then right before the Leafs end up scoring, it was Johansson 2-on-1 with Brodin, like perfect setup for one of the Swedes to be the hero in Stockholm. It didn't work out that way. Instead, it was William Nylander. So I think you're right on tomorrow's headline, all Swedish, no finish, Kinger.
So I have a couple just Sweden questions, okay? 2 questions. So when you're over there, is it like Studio 54? Like you're in the elevator with Nylander, and then you go to get some ice in the hallway, and Matthews is getting ice, and then you're downstairs with Kachuk. So that's first question: is everybody together, and it's this weird NHL movie? And second, do people get after it tonight? Do you fly out? So you only got 2 points, right? But they're playing with a little more structure. If this was a road trip, they won 1 out of 2 games, technically, 2 out of 4 points. So do people like party tonight and then you fly home, or like how does the trip end? So those are my 2 questions, if you can find them in there.
So to answer the first question, we're at the same hotel as the Leafs. Great spot, the Grand Hotel in downtown Stockholm, right across the street from the King's Castle in Parliament. Like, it's an unbelievable spot that we're at. Kudos to the NHL for securing these spots. But yeah, it was like that. I mean, one of the nights it was I was closing the bar down with some of the Leafs. I don't know, personnel. I mean, it was fun. You bounce into them there. You'd see John Klingberg and Ryan Reeves, and unbelievable spot in this joint. You go downstairs. I got lost in the spot. I'm not the only one. They have like the world's tiniest doors, and I've made the mistake countless times. They're a pull country, not a push country. So every single door was like, I made the wrong choice all the time. So if I had a red spot on my nose, maybe it's because I was confident it was a push door and I should have been pulling. But yeah, you couldn't go. Well, so Stockholm, big city. You couldn't go anywhere in the city without running into somebody from the NHL or a Wild fan. And that was pretty cool to see. It was pretty well represented in that regard. So that was a blast, a lot of fun. Catching up with a lot of people was great too. It kind of felt like, I don't know, like a mini awards ceremony or a world championships or world junior tournament where you've got so many teams in a small area that you're always around somebody that you know. So that part was cool. Now, when it comes to the flashing green light, the Wild don't have a game until next Friday. I don't think there's any reason why it wouldn't be a green light. But what I do think is that it's actually been a tough trip for me specifically because of the lack of sleep. But the guys too, if that's the case, I don't know. It's probably more rest management. Ryan Hartman was ill too. He missed the Ottawa game. And I think guys are just a little bit worn down from the time change and the trouble sleeping. I think from talking to a bunch of people, more and more people have gotten acclimated further into the trip, which for them I think is going to be a bummer going back west. But yeah, I think it's a green light if anybody has the energy to pull it off. But something tells me batteries might be pretty well drained.
Yeah, I was kind of in a dark spot. You know, you're in a dark place when you pull up Russo on your phone while you're watching the game just to see what he's upset about. That's not a good like fan behavior where you're just like scanning for negative adjectives. You're clicking on the comments section after the Wild post, 4-3, 64 comments. I'm just reading them all. The irony of the whole deal is I actually thought they played, structured hockey for 2 games, right? They sort of looked like themselves. There's even, chatter about the coach or whatever. They looked very coached, for 2 games. I mean, they're just not taking advantage of those special moments. And you're not getting enough out of the sort of superstar moments as well. But yeah, it was a little frustrating. I felt like I was grinding my teeth a little bit, even though it was 2 points out of 4.
Yeah, you felt coming into it that the Wild needed a little bit more than 2 points or 2 overtime losses. It does kind of feel like kiss your sister. It's not an awful trip, but it's not a great trip. You know what I mean? And I think you're right too in that you don't want to get too high or too low coming out of this one at all. And the coaching staff, they coached well. The guys they played hard. I think the Ottawa game, it kind of felt like 2 teams that were in tough spots that weren't going to lose that game. Speaking of the hotel, I'm in my room right now. This is so great. I'm okay, thank you. It's turn down service. They're about to put my slippers next to my bed, and this hotel has been unbelievable. It is great. I don't know if I should pop up and tell them I'm recording a podcast. This ought to be interesting. But yeah, back to that thought. Two teams that were playing not to lose the game. Ottawa's been struggling out of the gate too. Wild looking to find their game, and that one low scoring 2-1 shootout game. And today I thought the Wild played with a little bit more, hey, let's go win this game. But they didn't abandon what they built the night prior, which was structured defensive hockey. I think the speed of Toronto was much different than Ottawa just 18 hours before that. So it took them 10, 12 minutes to figure that out. And then once they did, the Wild were the better team the rest of the way. It's just Toronto's got so much talent. You make one mistake, they make you pay for it. Like, it's crazy how good they are with the puck. Nylander, 17 games. Now, that's a pretty impressive stat. 17 games to start the season. He's recorded a point in every single game. Only one other active player has done that, and that's Connor McDavid. So, catching Nylander twice early in the season hasn't been good for the Minnesota Wild. But you're right, too, on the structure of the Wild. They were well coached today. And today was the first game that they have had all of the guys that they would have in the line. They're missing Goligoski, but they had everybody at their disposal first time all year. And you could say they played one of the better teams in the Toronto Maple Leafs, and the Wild should have, maybe even should have won that hockey game.
Yeah, the tough thing was the goalie really didn't look very good today. And I was just thinking.
The Leafs goalie.
Oh, I mean, Wall. I mean, it was there, I mean, like you were saying, top corner. I was just shocked. And then when Eck gets that puck, I felt like it gave me flashbacks of myself at beer league. He just backed himself into a corner. he got the shot, and he's just like, oh, and he just turned into like his own leg. I'm like, what's happening? But yeah, I don't know. It was on one hand, they played two hockey games where we've been living this Jekyll and Hyde. This was much more, relatable. It's funny, Dean. He's almost speaking in code now. So you're not getting quite enough out of Boldy and Kirill, right? And so that's kind of written all over the comments and the Twitter and everything else. And so post game he says, we're getting the hard goals, but we also got to get the fancy ones. And I know he's also talking about the Eck moment for sure, but like he's basically saying high-end talent has to start chipping in here because we're getting it from the bottom. And if we could get it from the top at the same time, we'd really be rolling.
Yeah, and you know what that is? That's the power play.
Yeah.
The penalty kill was struggling for a while. The power play was they were doing their job, and then all of a sudden they go and they fix the penalty kill, and the power play has a power outage. And I think second period power play had 3 opportunities. They need to score. Those guys need to find a way to go tic-tac-toe and get one in the net, change momentum, something. I think that's what he's talking about. Would he love Kaprizov and Boldy to dangle somebody one-on-one and get a pretty goal? Yeah. Unfortunately, those guys don't have the confidence or the leash. Now, this is amazing in and of itself. I don't think they have the leash right now to go take somebody on one-on-one. They've turned the puck over, both of them, at the blue lines enough to where it's become a problem and noticeable, not just to the staff, but to the fans and to everybody else. So they have to find a pretty goal the hard way, if that makes sense. That's forecheck, quick little pass on the tape, top cheese, something, spinorama. I don't really know, but Kaprizov looked like maybe he had a couple of chances. And he had spurts. The one positive for me on Kaprizov was that today he had moments and shifts where it looked like he was kind of starting to come back. And it felt like a car that you ran out of gas at one point, and then you fill it back up and it starts and it goes and turns over, then it dies instantly. Then you gotta grab the key and spin it again, starts, goes, and dies again. But let's put some premium fuel in that, dude, over the next 4 days and see if Black Friday, we can't get something more out of them. But it seems like it's coming. I don't know if he turned the page yesterday or today. He's starting to put it together. I don't know. That might be the homer take right now, trying to see the positives in the situation. But I do think we saw him maybe turn the page yesterday for sure.
Hey, what do you think about Faber on the power play? Just the most Minnesota thing to say. Because, why not just take the couple of things that have been going right and try to ruin them? But the way he bounces around down low, and even that last goal with Zuccarello, he moves the puck well. I don't know. It's just a thought, ride the hot hand, throw him on PP1.
Without Kalen Addison and not taking anything away from Jared Spurgeon, I mean, they've tried 5 forwards. Brock Faber, I mean, give him a chance. I can't see any harm in it. It's a right shot. He's got a big shot. If you can figure out how to use it and walk the blue line, I mean, it really could be a good thing. You get the setup there where, maybe he and Kaprizov can go back and forth and get a one-timer in there or something. I like the thought. Yeah, absolutely. Don't see any reason why you wouldn't, other than I don't know that you want to hand the keys to the organization to the young man this early, this fast. You know what I mean? Again, it's also different when things are rolling good and you give a guy an audition versus when things are struggling, you give him an audition. It just creates so much more pressure. But his game's trending in that direction. The game's trending in that direction for sure. It really is.
So I guess if we stay true to our podcast, glass half full, we don't know a lot about the West. We're starting to go out there. We got Colorado coming up, Black Friday, St. Louis the following Tuesday, right? I don't know. I mean, I guess we're healthy. We're starting to figure out how to play the right way. And I hope that it was just a tough stretch at the start of the year against some really good Eastern teams. That's all I can hope for,
I couldn't agree more. And it was a tough stretch. It sounds like you're making excuses. You didn't have your captain. Then Freddie Gaudreau was gone, and Matt Boldy was out for stretches. These guys are starting to needing to find their stride, and it's just going to take time. Unfortunately, you're a quarter of the way through the season, and it feels like you're running out of time. You go back to our bold predictions, like it felt, one of them was the Wild have to stay healthy. They need 6-8 guys to play 82 games. And, it's like 2 steps forward, 1 step backwards all the time. But if they can stay healthy, this next 4 days maybe is going to be the most critical 4 days of the season for the Wild. Nobody got hurt. Everybody can get back, get energized, and then go on a run. The Colorado game will be a statement game, I think, on Black Friday. And it doesn't get any easier after that. But the Wild against a good team in Toronto, you saw the buy-in defensively, penalty kills doing good. The other stuff seems to be easy to fix compared to those things. So
one of the things that on the I'll watch this Manning cast on Monday Night Football, and I played football, and it's just amazing how much I don't know about all the different structures and offenses. And watching that penalty kill just be a diamond, and just watching the diamond just sit there and commit. I mean, it was like, I was like, hey, like you could turn to your wife and be like, hey, you see what we're doing on the penalty kill? See the diamond? And they're just going to, it was pretty cool. It's like, holy, I mean, we are pot committed to this diamond. It's kind of scary to watch because it's not aggressive, right? They just sort of sit there. And then, when they can get their hand on the puck, they get it out. But it's like a firing squad, but man, they are committed to that new look and seem to work better.
Yeah. And NHL coaches are savvy. I think the Wild had the advantage in the Ottawa game because they had pre-scouted 2 different penalty kills because the Wild had versions that were different going into that game. And with the time before the Sweden trip, they hit hard reset and went straight to that diamond. So Ottawa didn't know what they were coming up against. And I think they tried to make adjustments in the middle of the game to no avail. And then Toronto had some, they had some video to look at, but quick turnaround. I mean, maybe that helped the Wild out too. 18 hours from the end of the Ottawa game to the start of the Toronto game. And the Leafs did get one on the power play right off the draw, but overall, I thought the kill looked a little bit better, and it was good. A rallying point for the Wild, but the diamond, you're right. It looks nervous, and it makes you nervous because there's room at the net. You're taking away the middle of the ice and that top shot, but there's room down by the net. You're like, oh goodness. But the long body, the long body. If you listen to the podcast last year during the playoffs, you're doing the long body, keeping the puck one half the ice. It's working for now. So let's just take our breath and celebrate that. One more thing I want to touch on too is coaches. Dean's coaching to win a little bit now too. Jonas Brodin played 29-46 in the Ottawa game. That's the most he's ever played in a regular season game since 2014. Only one other time in his career has he played more minutes than that. Eriksson Ek also set a career high in minutes in the Ottawa game. They bounced back. They were totally fine today. But I think it just illustrates, even the fourth line playing in the final 2 minutes today, illustrates that Avacyn's not holding punches now. It's go time, and you got to ride the hot hand and who's playing well. Brodin was yesterday, fourth line today, so those guys got the ice, and I thought they played well. I don't think you can fault the coaching staff at all for today. I think they made the right choice in net too. Like, let's not discount Marc-Andre Fleury. He made some pretty big saves. Go back to the Riley save backhand where he's streaking through the middle. He had some good saves today. It looks scary at times, with how quick Toronto can go east and west. But hey, man, he was there to make some saves. A lot of help from his friends on his left and right. I think the Leafs may even cut the crossbar once too. But every post helped him out today.
Yeah, you're getting the fan base is loving Rossi and Faber, but I will say Zuccarello, man, the guy is even if the Batman Robin thing isn't really working, man, does he continue to chip in and continue to score when we really need goals? I mean, multiple times this season when it's hanging in the balance, if we're going to get a point or not, and he's just been really good, business-like for the honorary Swede. Really a vet. I just think he's had a really nice year, Zuki.
And yes, sneaky. What's he got now? 19 points after today's. 19 points after today's. Over a point per game. It's not an issue. It's not an issue, and everybody's saying how they're not playing that great. I wish I could not play great and have 20 points in 16, 17 games. But give us, let's change the tune a little bit and get back to maybe raising some money for Men's Health. But give us an update on your mustache, and have you had any weird encounters? Like, you have any scrambled egg stuck in there this morning, and anything weird?
I did get I was eating a Monster cookie that my wife had made. It was still warm, and I got some of the chocolate she actually said to me, "You got some of the chocolate in your flavor saver." My wife said that to me, which means I'm living my probably how I should. But and I don't know if it's hard to get it out of there, right? Like you almost have to get a wet wash rag to like get stuff out of there, because it just kind of sits there. But it's there now. I feel like I'm wearing a costume now. There's no hiding. I might have to start cutting out the lips, where it starts hanging over. The concern I have is I got the bottom underneath the lip, so I kind of feel like I look like my whole mouth looks like a clogged drain, like when you pull hair out of the shower or something. I don't know. I gotta find ways to clean it up a little bit. How about you?
So, same. I find myself like kind of like brushing my mustache with my tongue a little bit, which is odd. And then at the same time, like I'm talking to fans or Swedish people. I don't know the language, none of it. And I'm talking to them with like a serious face and a serious tone. And they have to be thinking in their head, like, is this guy serious with this mustache? Like, this is what he's choosing to look like right now. So every once in a while, I have one of these moments where it's like, oh my goodness, this is embarrassing that I've forgotten I've got this little caterpillar hanging on my upper lip. But hey, the embarrassment's all going to be worth it. It's all going to be worth it when the donations come in and I beat you, and it's going to be fun.
Well, I wonder how global Movember is. Like, do you think the Swedes are like, what's going on in America? Like, why does everyone look like this? Like this, I don't know how. I guess maybe everybody knows Movember around the whole world, or do they think we're just kind of lunatics?
Well, I think they probably think we're lunatics. Another thing that I feel bad about traveling over here is that I haven't attempted to like order or do anything in Swedish because it's like a hard language to speak. And I just walk in and say, hi, can I get, they almost know, they almost have pegged me everywhere I go now, or they just say, hello.
Yeah.
They like, maybe it is the mustache. I'm not sure, but they just instantly know this guy speaks English.
How did the U10As do since you've been away?
Good. The update was that they've been able to win their games, a tough back-to-back this weekend too. Elk River yesterday. I think they've got another game today against a district opponent. So if they can get through that stretch without coach, that really makes me irrelevant. So I'm hoping that maybe they drop one of these. Is that selfish?
Yeah. You need something there. You definitely need something.
I tell you what, let's stop wasting our, not wasting our time, but I want to say that doing this over Zoom with you, I really appreciate hanging out with you in the studio. A little bit better vibe than going back and forth. That mustache is too far away from me. 4,000 miles. I want to be closer. So excited to get back overseas, do this in person. This has felt more like an interview because like we have to wait for our chance to talk back and forth, and we're reading body language. It's just way better in the studio. So let's save all our good content for when we get together. But Zach Bogosian set this up, but before we do, let's have a little word from the people that make this podcast possible, our sponsors.
Jimmy's Coleslaw is the ultimate line mate.
Yeah.
So whether you're playing with Kirill or not, throw it on a burger, right? Throw it on a seared sesame tuna. Throw it on a barbecue slider. Basically, don't sleep on the slaw.
Don't sleep on the slaw.
It's the ultimate line mate. Actually, did you know, Karts, the #1 selling coleslaw dressing in the state of Minnesota is Jimmy's. We beat the national guys. Our hometown team is better. They have original. Pineapple's my favorite, and fat-free. It's got a distinct, tangy flavor. So check out Jimmy's Coleslaw, Jimmy's salad dressings and dips. Don't you be messing with my dressing. Dean has constructed a lot of new lines.
He has.
And I think they're finding some load-bearing walls.
They are, and maybe they can use that as a nice transition.
You're welcome.
You're getting better at the tape to tape.
I'm working on it.
But yes, if they do start to crumble, or if there's another storm that comes to town, whatever it might be, and the Wild have to weather that storm, they're going to want to make sure that they've got a comfy home and place that they can retreat to, hang out, and be safe. And that's what Wild Construction can certainly make sure that you have. So if you were in one of these areas last year that had hail, Minneapolis, my area had it in the northeast suburbs, go to wildconstructionmn.com. Check out their hail maps, their research tools, their estimate tools. They've got it all there for you. One-stop shop. You submit your stuff. Our guys will give you a call. They'll come over, jump on your roof, do the dirty work, and let you know what they have found. And they'll get you taken care of. Wildconstructionmn.com. They'll make it happen.
If you're looking for some fresh, delicious milk, you're going to want to check out Cub. 48 hours from farm to shelf. You're not going to find that anywhere else. You're going to pay less. So head on into your favorite neighborhood grocery store, Cub and get yourself some delicious milk, lean into it, and end up with a Jake Middleton-sized milk mustache. Thank you for being here, Cub.
Kinger, it's time for the AC to be turned off, the heat to be turned on, and if you're looking for a place to get your AC system tuned up, look no further than Aquarius Home Services. In fact, the time to buy is right now. They're in the midst of their fall blowout sale, so if you want comfort and unbelievable prices, right now they've got a 25% discount on whole home heating and cooling systems. And if you need water, they've got whole home water solutions by Connecticut too. You got to act now. The deal doesn't last forever. Get your home heating and cooling systems checked out, or if you're looking for just worry-free water, they've got that there too. But it all starts with a free water analysis. For that, call our friends at AquariusHomeservices.com, or I should say check them out at AquariusHomeservices.com. They're earning the right to be recommended.
Yeah, so this is a fun interview, everybody. The thing I'm excited about is between Maroon and Bogosian, right? I watched the Pat Maroon Becoming Wild, and I don't think there's a more manly person in the world. And then this Bogosian shows up with his beard and his curls in the back, his night scope. Guy hunts hogs in the middle of the night and in side by sides. So our entire team basically, but throw Foligno in there, we look like the cast of Lone Survivor. We're ready to win the Stanley Cup, and now we're fighting to get into the damn playoffs, right? So we got to get there because we got these warriors, including Bogo, Zach Bogosian, number 3 overall pick at one point. So I think you're going to enjoy this interview. This is another guy who knows how to win and hopefully can rub some of that off on our Minnesota Wild. This is Zach Bogosian, sponsored by Duke Cannon.
I think it's appropriate that Duke Cannon sponsors this, because this gentleman looks like he's from the Delta Force. I believe his mother was a hairstylist, Vicky.
Yeah.
So we got it all covered for hardworking guys and want to smell better, work harder. Check out Duke Cannon. But Zach Bogosian, Bogo, welcome to Minnesota. I know you got a house on Lake Minnetonka, so this isn't too foreign territory. But we're thrilled you're here. How's it going so far? What do you make?
Good. Thanks for having me. Yeah, it's been a crazy few days for me and my family, but if there was ever anything or any trade that was going to happen, Minnesota, obviously having the house here and knowing quite a few guys, this would be the most seamless transition for us. So it's been a good few days, just getting to know the guys.
What's the backstory? How do you end up with a house on Lake Minnetonka when you're like
random
winning cups with the Lightning? Like,
no, we moved out here in 2016, I think it was. Okay. So completely random. I'm from upstate New York. My wife's from Boston area, Western Mass, and we kind of just settled on didn't want to live either of those places. And I had previously played with Mark Stewart, Dustin Byfuglien, Blake Wheeler, a bunch of Minnesota guys, and I'd always heard them talk about Lake Minnetonka, and just kind of moved out here one random summer and never looked back.
Really? Just threw a dart at the lake?
Yeah.
And then boom.
Honestly,
That's it?
It's pretty
He's
crazy.
Like Jimmy Jam.
Yeah, like literally never had been out to many other than when I played the Wild, and I went to Shattuck's summer camp or something, and back with JP Parisi. I was probably 12 or 13. So that was my only experience in Minnesota. So I ended up just calling, I think it was Buff. It's hooked me up with a realtor. I was like, okay, find me a rental place on the lake. And he did. And I just saw pictures and was like, okay,
That works.
looks good. Moved out here and started training and skating with all the hockey guys out here, and it's been good.
Who's your agent?
It was Aaron.
But it's not. It wasn't one of the Minnesota guys.
No.
So not like Hank or.
Oh, sorry. I thought you meant my real
your real estate agent.
No.
Because a lot of the agents will have guys. That
Oh yeah. No. My agent's Darren Ferris. He's out of Toronto. So I've known Darren since I was even before I played in Peterborough. So I was 15 years old.
Yeah. Awesome.
But no agency connection here. I know Hank. He's a great guy. Just a lot of my buddies that are out here, work with him. So, yeah.
Where's Buff now? I just that guy fascinates me.
Yeah, he is.
He's in the woods. It's deer
He's
season.
No one knows.
No one knows, right?
Yeah. I love hunting, so me and him got along right away, hunting and fishing. So, yeah, your guess would be as good as mine.
Well, even the fact that he knew a real estate agent, like that doesn't seem like the guy when you're like, hey, honey, we're just going to pick a spot to live.
Yeah.
I'm going to call Buff and he's going to sort it out for us.
Looking back on it,
That's not,
crazy play, but it worked out.
But it worked. Dude,
we're in a deer stand.
The stories I remember of Boff are like he used to just be able to turn it on. Like Wild fans would probably get frustrated with him because all of a sudden he would just he had that switch. He could just flip it and he'd just have a guy in each arm, and then he'd put both of them in one arm, and then he'd have the other free arm and grab a third guy.
Yeah, I've never seen anything like him. I mean, he's the biggest, strongest, fastest guy on the ice. And when he turned it on, man, I'd put him up there as on any given night one of the best players in the league. So,
yeah,
it was impressive.
And sometimes I try to say it like this too. There's good players and then there's dominant players that have the game. Like you wouldn't probably see his game and be like, wow, he's Connor McDavid out there some nights. But in terms of impact on the game, he would be the most impactful player on the ice.
100%, and just the way. Well, the way being that big and being able to skate like he could was impressive, but on the other side of the puck, forwards coming down, every once in a while, he didn't always look for a big hit, but they were very aware of where he was on the ice.
Yeah.
And, when he got a chance to line someone up, it was look out.
And then also, let's not forget that he played forward too.
Yes.
Didn't he break into the NHL at forward and then moved back to D?
I think he was a defenseman when he
won
was
cups as a
younger,
forward.
and then when he was in Chicago, he was a forward, and then when I was with him in Atlanta, he was a defenseman, and then when he got to Winnipeg,
D.
He was. I want to say
he played with Taze and Kane. I believe he was the third forward on that line.
Yeah, and I think what do you call it? When I think we went up to Winnipeg together, I think he started as a forward, and then Paul Maurice took over after Claude Noel, and then he moved them back to D. And he's all over the place.
Yeah, it's crazy. So you're a hunter. What's the targeted species?
Well, living down in Tampa the last few years, I did a lot of hog hunting. That's fun.
Really?
Yeah, it's a ton of fun.
How does that go down? Walk us through hog hunting.
It's fun. You feel like
you do it at night?
Yeah.
With lights?
No, thermal scopes.
Oh my God! Yes, you actually are lone survivor.
He's going all sniper on us.
Yeah, it's
so thermal scopes. Are you in like Humvees and stuff?
Yeah, we have side by sides with green lights on it, big seats up top. It's fun. It's a ton of fun. I like deer hunting, turkey. I mean, anything to do with the outdoors, I love. I've always. I mean, growing up. My dad wasn't really into it, but it's something he always appreciated. So he kind of surrounded me with a lot of his friends that were outdoorsmen. My dad was always working, very blue collar family, but he all of his buddies did it, so they kind of got me into it. And then as I've gotten older, it's been something I grew to love. And then now that I have kids, it's fun for me to kind of pass that on, bring them out in the tree stand every once in a while, just to show them what it's like, that it's what discipline is, and you can learn a lot when you're out there.
So your buddy's with Hendy too. He slings Traegers on the side. I think he's got a buddy with the deal. So are you making hog belly bacon and stuff?
Yeah, I love my Traeger. Hendy got me into it.
Did he get you one?
Oh yeah. He got me into it, and then I think so. Me and Hendy met the year I moved out here.
This is Matt Hendricks. He works for the Wild now.
Met, became great friends. Now we're next door neighbors out on Tonka. But he got me into my first Traeger, and since then I've had 3 or 4 of them. So I love it.
But I am curious, how is hog meat, wild hog meat?
It's pretty gamey.
Is it?
Yeah, it's not great.
So it's not like pork.
No, it's not like your traditional like pulled. Like it is, but no.
Yeah, makes sense.
It's like I'm sure there's probably people that could maybe cook it and dial it up a little bit better than I could. So, but from my personal experience, it's pretty gamey.
Yeah. You know who I love? Steven Ranella. Do you ever watch those?
Yeah, that's my son's favorite show.
Is
Meat
it?
Eater. Yeah.
Meat Eater?
Yeah, it's one of mine too. But I like that my son watches it because I like how like Ranella throughout the entire episode like explains what he's doing, why he's doing it.
He's like a poet.
I know.
I think he loves language.
Yes,
And then he also loves the outdoors.
Yeah. Well, he's written a few books too.
Yeah.
So he's a smart guy. He's fun to follow. I follow him on Instagram. I kind of really enjoyed when I liked his early episodes. Kind of got me hooked on like him teaching things, and then now it's like you kind of know what he's doing. So like the last seasons, I think there's 10 of them. Seasons like 5 to 10. It's more like the exciting hunts that you kind of know what's going on now.
So, I don't know how to break into this conversation. I feel like such a non-man. Like, what is this?
You have a mustache. How can you?
Yeah,
feel-
my mustache. As you guys were debating wild pig meat on a Traeger, I don't know if that's a grill or a smoker. There's a show about meat eating. Like my mustache actually retreated into my skin. I think. What's this TV show? I got to watch this. It sounds almost
It's Meat Eater.
It's called Meat Eater.
And
Meat
what
Eater.
happens?
Ranella.
He goes
all
things,
over the world.
and then he eats them.
So he goes all over the world.
I'm from Edina.
He hunts.
We eat cake.
He hunts.
Oh, your shirt says Ray.
Just crazy, cool adventures. Like he'll go to Montana. He'll go in like the Swiss Alps. Like he'll go all over the world.
I'm down.
I just watched one with him turkey hunting in southern Florida.
Yeah,
I'm going in on this.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's great, and he's like someone that like. If you're a hunter, it's great because you kind of know what's going on. But like, if you know absolutely nothing about hunting and you watch one of his shows, it like educates you. So it's kind of, it kind of suits like both groups.
It feels like it has like a little Bob Ross. Like it's just good for you as a person to watch this. Yeah, I'm gonna get in. I'm gonna catch up with your son who's watching this.
Yeah.
I got 10 seasons.
His name's Hunter too.
Hunter,
So,
perfect.
yeah.
Perfect. Should we do rapid fire?
Well, he said his favorite show, so let's start with that one. Rapid fire. Favorite show these days?
Favorite show these days.
Like if you have to binge something on an 8-hour flight to Sweden, what would you binge?
The most recent one was Ted Lasso. I thought that was funny. I like the subtle little chirps within every episode. I'm trying to.
It's also nice to think about if a coach was actually that positive all the time.
Yeah, that's like I.
Is that how practice was today?
Unfortunately, not. But we're getting through it. But I like Vikings. I started. So when I was young, like back in like high school, I watched like Band of Brothers. Loved it.
Peaky Blinders.
Yeah, Peaky Blinders. I watched. That got me through one of my hip surgeries. I just like laid in the couch and watched that. That was great. But I watched The Pacific. Like 2 weeks ago, I was just like sitting in the hotel room. I'm like, all right, I just want to watch like something I've already watched. Just put it on, maybe fall asleep too. And I put on Band of Brothers, and like I was like hooked. I was like up all night. I was hoping it was gonna like help me fall asleep. And I was up for
It had the opposite effect.
Yeah, opposite effect. So that's something I can probably watch over and over and over.
Okay, we're gonna go rapid fire back and forth.
Okay.
Me to Carter, back to me. What do you listen to in the car?
Country.
Favorite concert?
Luke Combs in Boston. That was the coolest show I've ever seen.
It's your birthday. Where are you going to dinner?
Oh, I'm not a big restaurant guy. Honestly, me and we always cook at home. So
Tomahawk on the Traeger.
yeah, something like that. Yeah,
Done deal.
yeah.
First real job.
I worked for my family business. It was a carpet cleaning business that turned into like floor mats and dry cleaning. I worked there from the time I was probably 6 until I was like my second year in the NHL. I was like 19. And my dad, I was like, Dad, I like need to like
Dad.
train.
Dad.
Like, Dad, I'm making money. I need to train for my job. And he was like, yeah, definitely. But, yeah.
Green light in any NHL city. Where do you want to be?
New York City.
Is that because you're from New York?
There's probably a bit of that behind it. Like I never went to New York growing up. So the first time I was ever there was when I was at MSG playing the Rangers.
How cool is that though when you're American? We can get into this. We'll a couple more quick hits.
Yeah.
Your favorite Instagram follow?
Joe Rogan.
Your go-to drink at the bar?
Any beer. I'm a beer drinker.
Who do you text the most?
Probably my wife.
Yeah, that's actually
I would say my wife.
Who do you text the most that isn't your spouse?
Okay. Probably my really good buddy Blaine Gabbert.
Gift card from any store?
Bass Pro Shop. I guess is Gander Mountain out here?
Gander no longer exists, but yes.
Okay.
But yeah, Bass Pro Shops.
Bass Pro Shop.
Cabela's.
Yeah.
Thorne Brothers.
Yeah. What's the other the hardware store?
Ace, I don't know.
No.
Ace is the helpful hardware place.
It's like it's like a Home Depot, but like
Menards?
Menards, yeah.
Yeah, solid. Who plays you in the movie? What actor?
Ooh. Tom Hardy.
Yes, I can see it.
Do you have your own Netflix accounts? Like Netflix, Hulu, or are you a share kind of guy?
Well, I think me and my wife had like 3 different emails going at once, and then I think we're now down to 1.
Well, that's nice. But so like you have your own Netflix account. It's not like you're using your mom and dad's.
Oh yeah. Like me personally paying for. Yes, yeah. Yes, I have my own.
There's a lot of dudes that are.
I play with guys that still are like on their parents' like cell phone.
Exactly.
Yeah. No, I'm off the boob.
Yeah. As soon as you stopped working at the family business, they were like, "Time for your own Netflix account, buddy."
Yeah. When I was 6, you're on your own.
So let's go hairstyle because I dig it right now. It's got like a little Undertaker vibe to it.
Yeah.
And I know you're a good wrestler too. I think I've seen it firsthand.
What? Whoa! Where does this take place? You wrestle?
Ask Matt Hendricks.
Yeah. I can't.
Yeah. You can ask.
There's
Henry.
probably a WWE ring between their 2 houses.
Yeah.
That's the only thing that separates them.
Yeah. Me and Hendy get a few beers in us, and we like to wrestle.
But it's not like WWE. It's not like off the ropes. You guys are wrestling.
Yeah, it's more like Greco-Roman wrestling.
Ground and pound, I think they call that.
Yeah.
So what is it? What is the style?
I've had a mullet for like 4 or 5 years.
Natural curl, no perm.
Natural curl, wave, nice little wave.
That is nice.
Almost like a natural highlight too.
Yeah, a little sun-kissed. That's good. It's kind of because you got special forces up front, like the night scope, but then just a little party in back.
Yeah, it's a 2 hours.
Yeah, that's good. And just wear army green all the time and you're set.
Mm-hmm. A lot of camo.
Walk us through the tattoos too. So I mean, like, when did this start?
Oh, I got my first one when I was probably like 18, 19. Did like I think the first one was a cross on my back. And then I've just like over the years gotten more and more. I'll probably get my other arm done at some point. I just haven't really found the time to do it. I got my sleeve probably, I don't know, 2015, 14, 15, something like that.
What's going on there? Who's she?
That's Nike, the goddess of victory.
Okay.
It's like I'm Armenian, so it's like an Armenian warrior helmet. Kind of looks like a Spartan helmet. And then like the Colosseum, I've always been kind of
Gladiator.
I was one of my favorite movies growing up. So, that was something I was like, all right, if I get like a sleeve, I can like kind of make it all kind of mesh together. So yeah,
that's awesome.
Mm-hmm. How New York are you? You know, I was looking like your dad played for Syracuse.
Mm-hmm.
You got some like New York vibes happening, but like you've played a lot of places, and like, what's the I love New York factor still remaining? I
love where I'm from. So like the way I explain it to people is when I say I'm from upstate New York, everyone's like, oh, like, but if you talk to someone from like New York City, they're like, oh, like the Catskills. It's like, no, I'm like as high up as you can go. And then like if people from Minnesota are like trying to figure that out, I'm like, okay, it'd be kind of like where like Roseau is in Minnesota, like, all the way, like I'm on the St. Lawrence River to Canada. So I grew up a lot in Canada, played a lot of hockey tournaments in Canada, but where I'm from in Messina, it's like the smallest, it's a tiny town. Like my parents go to the doctor, it's like 3 hours south in Syracuse. So like there's not much up there. So I love where I'm from, just from like the family values, blue collar, like you had to work really hard to get out. But yeah, I wouldn't say I'm not like I love New York State. Like I never had a bumper sticker that says I heart NY. No, never.
You're from like a log cabin. In New York,
I'm from
basically.
up there. I'm from the sticks. Yeah.
So how do you go from the sticks to third overall? Like that's pretty amazing.
My parents, man, they were like instrumental on just like making sure that I had every possible opportunity, and if that meant we were driving an hour and a half to Ottawa to play on a team and have practice hour and a half away, that was what we did. My grandparents, they helped out. So just them, now that I have kids, knowing that there's so much going on in different sports and this and that, and you're like, oh man, like hockey practice is like 30 minutes away. You know, like it's like I can't even like let that thought come in my head, because I'm like, my parents sacrificed so much of their time and money, and they certainly weren't making NHL money. So like it was a lot on them, and that's essentially, they made a lot of really good decisions for me when I was younger, when I really, all I wanted to do was play hockey, and they were very, like I said, instrumental in just that sacrifice of getting me to the next level.
So I like asking this question, like when did you know that you were a player? Like when did you realize or get the thought like, man, I could play?
So when I was younger, like I obviously felt good, played good for like my local teams. And then I guess when I moved, so when I was 14 going into ninth grade, like I said, I went to Shattuck's like summer camp, and I was like thinking about it. It was just like kind of far away from my hometown, like if I'm being honest. So I like wasn't like, yeah, I want to go to Shattuck. But it was like I went to the camp and just like checked it out to see what it was all about, and it was great. But I did need to move away from my hometown to get to that next step, get better, get more exposure and stuff like that. So I ended up going down to Cushing Academy, which is on the border of Massachusetts and New Hampshire. So I went down there at 14, made the varsity team, and then didn't play a ton like my first like year, my like ninth grade year. 10th grade year, played a little bit more, and then I got drafted into the OHL. And I was actually a forward at the time. And one of our defensemen got hurt, and I played like a weekend tournament. It was like like a showcase tournament basically, and I played defense. And then there was a bunch of OHL teams there in Quebec. Like Massachusetts is the Quebec League, but there was other OHL teams there too. Just scouting, say it was kids from New York or whatever. Peterborough ended up drafting me, and then I went up to Peterborough. So like I guess once I got drafted to Peterborough, I'm like, okay, like that's a big step, like major junior. And then once I got to major junior and was playing against like guys like Traeger and Stamkos and all the guys that they were like TSN was talking about going like first overall, or there were these like massive names in junior hockey, and I was playing against them and doing like well. That's when I was like, okay, like maybe I can make it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
that's pretty cool.
Yeah,
but no college for you.
No college.
U.S. guy. Your college was you were on like.
So when I was younger, when I was like probably 13 or 14, my dad took me up to an Ottawa 67s game, and I just thought it was the coolest thing. Like these kids are like 16, 17 to like 21, wearing like half visors. And I just was like, oh, that's cool. Like that seems pretty fun. And the style, it must have just been the game that I went to, there's like a ton of fights, a ton of goals, like exciting hockey to watch. And I think I was just hooked. I was like, I want to play in the OHL. And basically like my 9th and 10th grade year, like, not that it should happen, but like colleges weren't like knocking down my door talking to me. So I was like, okay, like seems like a good fit. Like I'll go play that style of hockey. They're showing interest in me, and kind of ran with it.
Was Ray Bork a coach at Cushing?
Yeah, he was. So I went to school with his youngest son, Ryan. So my last year at Cushing, my 10th grade year, Ryan was a freshman, and Ray would help out at practices and stuff. So
did you learn any defensive wizardry from him?
His big thing, because obviously he was so offensive, I just remember like him always telling the defenseman like to try to find that timing of the second wave of offense. So if a forward pulls up, like your timing needs to be good, because everyone can skate fast and get up there, but like you almost like skate yourself into trouble. One thing I remember him saying was just like trying to find that like soft spot as the second layer of offense. That was like something I remember I took away from being around him.
I wanted to hear, right now you've won a cup, you've been on some long battles, and this interview will come out a little later than right now. But how do you get through adversity, right? So you've done it, you've been successful. When you're in that room even today, and the ups and downs of a long season, what have you learned, a longtime vet, that kind of how do you get through the the stretches in the season where maybe it's not going your way?
Yeah, I mean, every team goes through it. There's ups, there's downs. It's just a matter of how long you're going to be in that up and how long you're going to be in that down. And it's always trying to find kind of that happy medium. I know it's like a super cliche thing to say, but from my past experience, just it's like the little details within the game that add up to the big picture for me. You might see a play that looks very fun to make, but there's a minute or 2 minutes left in the period, and you're like, you know what, I maybe should just chip it in and just like live the fight another day. And just you do that over and over and over, and you'll hear so many guys throughout the year talk about the grind of the season. Eventually, when you get into those, post-trade deadline, those like you're fighting for position in playoffs, it's like that grind becomes fun when you're doing those little details, because you know that you're just chipping away at the block, and you're in like a routine of winning hockey. And I find that groups that I've been with that have kind of stuck to that like simple little details is kind of how we always got out of it.
I love talking to the guys, like Patty Maroon was in here too, on like what it takes to win. And it's not like profound, unbelievable, great hockey. It's like a war of attrition.
Yep.
It's make fewer mistakes than the other guy. I don't have to be great. I just don't make mistakes, and that's the ticket to winning. And it's weird because you can hear the tone in like your voice and in Patty's voice. They're so confident in what it actually takes that they're not trying to be something they're not and say, oh, it's the next level, it's harder, it's this, you got to be faster, you got to be stronger. So actually it seems like it's different. It's just like a level of commitment from 20 dudes to play a certain style, and then to not let anything really phase you, just fully commit.
You're just, like the times, like I've been on both sides of it, like won in the finals and lost in the finals. What it comes down to is just how like laser focused you are. Like if you look at like teams that win in the past, like they don't like, not every team, like randomly teams will have like a 50-60 goal scorer, but like a lot of teams it's just like from top down to bottom, it's like everyone's willing to sacrifice everything that they have. Like you have guys that are, at least from my experience in Tampa, like you have guys that are clear Hall of Famers, but like they just like chip the puck in and just go and try to get it. Like little things like that. It sounds so cliche but it shows the entire group. Like if he's doing it, like he's bought in, like he's focused, like he's ready to sacrifice maybe his personal game to take that next step as a group.
I wanted to, I was looking at your Instagram when I did my extensive research for this.
3 minutes before you got here.
Yeah.
Yeah, actually, today.
There's not much on there.
Well, but the photo at the White House is pretty great because Patty Maroon looks like he's sitting on Joe Biden's lap wearing like a fedora. Like, are there any stories about going to the White House or what was that like? And how did Pat Maroon get so close to the leader of the free world? Like, what was it like?
It was awesome. It was cool.
Yeah, right.
I don't care like anyone's political beliefs. Like, you're at the White House. Like, you're an American. You get invited to the White House. Like that is
a big deal.
That's a privilege that like not many people get to have. So take that out of it. One of the funny things, Biden came in and saw Patty's hat that he was wearing and just like grabbed it and put it on and was talking to us. That was pretty fun. That's something I'll always remember.
I just picture Patty with like putting a Zin in, sitting next to Biden.
He's a character, man. Like he's.
Want one?
You got any Patty Maroon stories? I'd like to. I mean, you've been around the guy for a while. You said he gets chirped. This whole getting called fat thing's just around the league for like years.
Yeah, I mean, it's people got to come up with better stuff. But like, what do you like? I don't even know like how they can even like people like chirp him, but like in reality, like I don't think they like really even mean it.
Well, I mean, he's not fat. I mean,
Well, one, no, he's not fat, but two, the guy's won 3 Stanley Cups. He's a great teammate. He fights everyone.
Chara.
Like he's fought Chara 5 times. Like there's not one thing that you can like chirp him about.
I hit
like,
Chara once and almost died.
Yeah.
No chance I would.
So, but as far as like Patty Maroon stories, I've had some fun with him. We've been through a lot together.
He's a beer guy.
Yeah, we live next to each other. Just I don't even. I got no story.
yeah,
it's been fun.
Yeah,
it's been really fun.
I would think it would be.
Yeah.
I did have one more. Then there's a great shot at Tootsie's in Nashville, and you're all wearing cowboy hats. Is this a green light on the road, or what is this?
That was we played against Nashville in the
like a stadium series.
Yeah, outdoor game.
That place is fun, man.
It was fun. We had the game and then stayed overnight. Went to Tootsie's that night. Ended up going on stage with Dustin Lynch and Low Cash.
Perfect.
It was fun. Like those guys were great dudes, looking to have a good time. Dustin Lynch had just released one of his songs that day. I'm pretty sure he like shot the music video at the rink as he was coming in or something. So he was like pumped up, and it was a great experience.
Dude, so I still love Nashville, but it has changed so much from.
It's Las Vegas now.
Yeah, it changed.
Yeah.
Broadway didn't used to get like shut down. Tootsie's used to be a hole in the wall kind of pop in bar.
Yeah.
Now everything is like mainstream a little bit. So the feel in Nashville seems a little different than it was even like back in the day early on where it was, let's get a cowboy hat and go sit at Tootsie's. I mean, I went real deep Tootsie's night before a game once. I got in a lot of trouble for it too.
I feel like everyone has. If you've played in this league long enough,
It'll get
Tootsie's gotten you at least once.
It got, yeah.
The thing about Tootsie's that's so amazing is when it's packed, those bartenders, if you even think you want to drink and you kind of turn your head, it's just in your hand.
Yeah.
I don't know how they do it. I mean, because there's way too many people in there at any given time. They got that little stage every 45 minutes. New people are coming out, but can they sling drinks at Tootsie's?
Yeah.
You will not be thirsty.
We went with like 6 guys, and I think everybody took bought a round, and then you're 6 beers into it or whatever it is. And then I remember ordering room service at the hotel like midnight, and I woke up to the room service outside the door the next morning on my way to the skate, and it's like, oh boy, here we go.
6, the 6 beers. It's either you go one way or the other.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
That's a turning point. For
How was Atlanta, man? Like, you played in Atlanta.
hot Atlanta. Yeah, it was good. I was young, 18, 19, 20.
That's crazy. So that's what I was thinking. Like how old are you now? 33? Like, don't take this the wrong way, but I felt like you were like 38, 39 years old.
Everyone in the hockey world thinks I'm like 40.
Yeah, because you've played since you were 18 years old. I'm like,
Yeah.
I saw the numbers, like he's 33 years old.
Yeah, it's funny. Like, I get a kick out of it. Like me and my wife, they're all like everyone. Like, It's like, oh, he's so old. And I'm like, I'm not that old.
Yeah.
Like, I'm born in 1990. Like, there's plenty of guys that are like, I see around the league that they don't call old that are born in like 92. I'm like, I'm only 2 years older than that guy.
Yeah.
I mean, I might look 40, but like, I am not.
Well, so Atlanta was good though.
Yeah, it was really good. Yeah. So,
Weird arena.
yeah, I kind of liked it though.
Yeah.
Like the press boxes on the, that was cool. Obviously, you're playing in the NHL like that young. It's like I didn't know any better.
Yeah.
And by the time I had really gotten the lay of the land and gotten like the restaurant hookups and the bar hookups and starting to figure that whole scene out, we were gone.
Yeah.
So I have nothing but great things to say about Atlanta. There's so much traffic. That was you take one wrong turn, you're stuck for hours.
Those teams are cool though. Like, would you have played with like Hossa there or Kovalchuk for sure?
So Hossa got traded that summer of my draft year for remember Colby Armstrong, Esposito, all those guys went from Pittsburgh down, and then Hossa went up to Pittsburgh. It was like when I broke in the league, like Kovalchuk, trying to think of like Eric Bolton.
Eric Bolton. He's top 5 funniest dudes I've ever played with.
You see his boys are playing in London now?
No.
OHL? Both of them.
Really?
Yeah. Like they're just like him. They're animals.
If you guys don't know Eric Bolton, I played with him in Jersey. He's probably pound for pound the toughest guy that I ever played with. He's maybe 5'10".
I've never seen him. I've never seen him lose a fight. I've seen him tie fights, but
Yeah.
I've never saw him lose a
And then,
fight.
meanwhile, this guy walks around in just core shorts all the time, and he might be the most flexible person. So he still is like
Great hamstrings.
Yeah, he's like a 12-month-old baby. Can bend any direction, like 5'10", small, but then he'd go on the ice and he'd fight the toughest guy out there. And then he'd come back to the bench after and he'd have some hilarious story to tell you about something that occurred in the penalty box. Like
American or Canadian?
Canadian.
Yeah.
I thought we had a couple Kachuk boys.
He's like the funniest guy that I've ever played with.
Yeah.
He was
great. And then Matthew Schneider was my rookie year. He ended up getting traded to Montreal that year. But one of my coolest hockey moments was Chris Chelios is my favorite player growing up, and I played with him in Atlanta. That's where he a lot of people forget that he played in Atlanta.
That's it. Kinger's got the game that he likes on his phone, the hockey grid. So you got to remember that.
Immaculate grid, yeah.
So we played together
in Atlanta, Chile.
Yeah, that's where he finished, and I was there. He's my favorite player of all time. And then he's we're playing together, and I hung out with him. And
did you sauna with him?
I did. I rode the bike in the sauna with him.
Rode the bike in the sauna?
Yeah.
That's so great. You guys are about the same age. You should do that now.
Yeah.
He was probably 45. You're 45 now.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
I
do actually ride. I do ride the bike in the sauna if there's room, usually.
So he would go out, right? He would go out drinking and then come home and ride the bike in the sauna the same evening?
He just would do it, I think.
I think it was more just the next morning.
Okay.
I could be wrong, but usually at the end of the night we parted ways. So I don't know what he would do, but I just remember him at the rink in the morning doing it.
That's great. So, hey, your wife played for the Boston Breakers, like a big-time soccer stud.
Yeah.
So with your kids, which way is it going? Is it going to go with the round ball or the puck? What are we seeing early? Is there some genes there? Number 3 overall.
What are we seeing early? Honestly, they've lived obviously majority of their life down in Florida, so there's a lot of tennis, a lot of soccer, a lot of baseball.
Yeah.
Hockey. My girls don't play hockey, but my oldest son does. My youngest is too young. My oldest daughter's really into tennis, and that's probably one of her stronger sports. But we're just we're at those ages where we just want to play everything.
Yeah.
I feel like so many parents now, it's they individualize so early, and I'm for a lot of reasons, it's so wrong, in my opinion. I mean, I'm going to do what's right for my family, but it's I think just development of kids, playing multiple sports is great for them. And then learning how to be a good teammate, or walking into different locker rooms and maybe being the best soccer player, but the 10th best one on your hockey team, learning how to have a role. I think that's super important. I feel like so many people just individualized so early, and it kind of it crushes the kids.
Yeah, I agree wholeheartedly. And it's amazing to me because you get people that have made it like you that are patient with their kid and say, the time for you to need to be good isn't from 6 until 14. Like,
Right.
if you care about this sport, there's plenty of time to get good from 14 to 18 or 16 to 18 to be able to continue on to play when you're 19, past your high school age, right?
Exactly,
Like, it's not like a race where and I think a lot of people discredit the people that have been there before, but they should look at it and say, hey, these guys were athletes, they made it, and they're patient with it.
Yeah.
They're patient and not making them specialize in sport early, like letting them develop, enjoy it, because I wholeheartedly believe that kids have to have a love for a sport before they can be good at it.
100%.
So they've got to foster their own love. As a parent, I can't do that for them.
Yeah, 100%. And it's like, I feel like everyone, take hockey, for instance, it's like you look at today's world, it's like 2023, there's social media, there's so much exposure out there for like little kids. And it's like, selfishly, the parents, like, I have the next Connor McDavid. It's like, you're putting so much pressure on the kid that they can't even be kids anymore. It's just like, let them have fun and enjoy it and play with their friends, and they'll develop just fine.
All that said, I've got to go plan a practice for my 10U squad here today because we've got to finish the rest of the year without a loss. So
be hard on them, crush them,
we're
make
going to
them
get
hate
some
it.
sideboard turbies. Yeah, we're going to wean out the soft ones today.
Yeah.
If they're not crying on the way home,
Yeah.
done something wrong.
Yeah, parents do.
You need at least one kid to quit today.
or I didn't do my job.
Hey,
No, man.
I just have one question left. What you watched the Wild from the outside looking in for a while, and you haven't been here that long, but what surprised you, coming into the room, maybe something you didn't know that was different, or what surprised you so far?
Nothing's really been surprising. I know, like I said before at the start of this, like knew a bunch of guys coming in, so and like guys like Hendy, like I kind of have like I had like a temperature on the room and organization kind of by the time I walked through the door, so nothing was like surprising to me, other than like just getting to know some of the guys. Like, you play against guys, like, what it's like you play against a guy that you just like always go at it with, and they tend to be usually like the best guy in the world. Like, I think me and Hartsey have fought twice in our career, and like me and him share some mutual friends, so I always knew he was a great dude. But it's like your perspective of like what it's like, and then all of a sudden you like get in there. It's like they're all just amazing people, and it's been super welcoming for me. I'm sure, like I'm a veteran now and an older guy, so I know how to probably walk into a locker room. But like at the end of the day, like everyone's been so welcoming, from staff down to the players. It's been a smooth transition for sure.
Did Billy call you? How did that go down with?
Yeah, Billy called me.
What was that like?
So we were on a 9-day road trip in Tampa. Played Montreal on a Tuesday, stayed overnight, flight out in the morning, landed back in Tampa at like 3. Went right from there to go pick up my kids from school. Had a missed call from Julian Brisebois, GM of Tampa.
Flex.
And I was like,
GM's calling. Picking the kids up.
I missed it, but my phone was on silent, I think, or it was like, it's probably something, I don't know. But I was walking out to the car holding one of my daughter's hands, and like my wife was like, check your phone. And I like looked at my phone, and I had like a missed call from Julian. And I had obviously seen the Addison trade earlier that day, and I was like, oh, maybe something might happen. I know there's been some sort of talks, but I called Julian. We had a conversation, and then 5 minutes later, Billy called me, just welcoming me to the team. And I was pumped. I was really excited. I needed a change, and that's not to say, like, I loved my time in Tampa, had some really cool experiences and memories, but sometimes there's just a time you need to move on, and then that was it.
Yeah. Well, that's good, man. That's awesome. Congrats. It probably is a scary thing at times, like new opportunities, things change a little bit, and it's hard on the family. Like how I don't think a lot of people understand this. When a guy gets traded, they jump on a flight. You're probably on a flight later that day, maybe the next day.
Oh yeah, like when I got traded, so I landed, school pickup, back home, packed my bags, went right back to the airport. And I met the team in New York.
Yeah.
I was out. I had like a 7:45 flight.
And this is why NHL wives, and I'm sure it goes for all sports, are the absolute best, and they deserve a lot of credit because all of a sudden, dad's just like, I got to go.
Yeah.
And they do have to go. And then they're there to hold everything together.
They hold the fort together.
Oh, man,
they're, taking care of everything. And I think a lot of them get used to us being gone all the time. But, it is nice when you're home. And then all of a sudden, like I was supposed to be home, and all of a sudden it's like, boom.
But then they got to move. Like they got to pack the house
Yeah.
up. Like you're not going back to Tampa.
No. I
I
got to
pack it up. They're going to bring the kids here. Like
they handle everything. It's funny because like Whitey was like, he's trying to talk to me about like the move and like car shipping and stuff. And I stopped him like after like the first sentence, and I was like, I think you just should talk to Bianca. She's got it all dialed in.
We've done this before.
Yeah. We've done it a couple times. Yeah. She's been part of, that's Winnipeg to Buffalo, Buffalo to Tampa, Tampa to Toronto, Toronto back to Tampa.
Yeah.
So
we should get him to weigh in on our mustaches,
Yeah, okay, yeah.
Because what day is it in November?
It's about the 14th.
Okay,
13th, actually.
13th. My son's birthday was yesterday. It's 12th.
Happy birthday.
Happy birthday, Hunter.
How are we doing here? If you were, if you're a wrestler, like a pro wrestler, and you're kind of like maybe you have a gavel, that's your character. Who's winning? What do you see happening? We're trying different stuff.
I think they both look great. I like the little flavor saver there for you.
Yeah.
Yours has got a nice shape, like
It's
down.
just straight mustache.
It looks.
Yeah.
Well, I got to rip his. Like
Whoa!
I just don't like that you hide it with the 8 o'clock shadow.
I should
That's
have
not
shaved
a mustache.
this morning. I know.
Don't shave everything else.
I know. I should have shaved. I've been busy.
The strength of the mustache is in its
I was
weakness.
prepping for this interview with Bogo. Look at all this stuff. Armenian. His wife played soccer.
If you had to donate,
you didn't do anything.
If you had to donate $10 to just one of our mustache accounts right now,
come on,
who would you choose?
Come on.
His is better right
now. Yes.
See, that's that NHL fraternity.
It's a code. It was a code.
That's the fraternity bullshit right there is what
Get
that
punched
is.
in the nose.
Yeah.
Have it be crooked. You'll win the mustache war. It's okay.
Hey, you need the fans
more
to
bucks.
make it go, guys. You need the fans. Nothing of this happens without the fans.
Yeah.
Don't forget. Well, we loved having you, man. We're happy you're here in Minnesota. Yeah. We need guys like you to kind of, as Billy says, drag us into the fight. So steady that ship, brother.
Yeah.
Take care of us.
Yeah, I'm pumped. I'm here, and thanks for having me. I'm sure we'll do another one. This was fun.
Awesome. Billy has another saying: you need character and characters. And I think you check both boxes. So, no, it's great to have you. Looking forward to seeing how everything unfolds on the ice too. But appreciate you stopping by.
Yeah, awesome. Thanks, guys.
Welcome.
Well, that's it for Zach Bogosian. Appreciate him stopping by. It was that was actually on travel day, so he gave us some time where he didn't have much. So thanks to him for stopping by. Thanks to everybody else for listening, battling through the clunkiness of a Zoom audio podcast right now. Kinger, you're the best, my man. Appreciate you. You waking up early to watch the games, to jump on the Zoom right after, spend some time with me before I have a 9.5-hour flight back to the States. But yeah, man, I think the Wild have started to find their game, man, and we're starting to find our groove here too. So
I think you get those slippers on that the maid just put under your bed, and there's one way you can sleep through the night. And if you get out there with the flashing green light, you might find that you don't wake up until it's time to wake up. So that might help. So you go have some fun. You've earned it. You worked. They had you up early as well, and I look forward to being side by side with you. We're here.
So let's hear.